always when Grandma and Papa would come up, and we'd get together with the cousins, and it was just the best thing we just were excited for it for just weeks. We'd come up from Columbus and we'd get together and for the holidays and birthdays and things. And I remember Grandma, as a grandmother, she was just the most kind and patient and warm person, and she was just the most incredible grandmother that you could possibly ever imagine for us. And I did have the opportunity the last 2.5 or so years to spend every day with her in the facility at Algarts, where she lived and where my father and I work. And it was difficult because as the dementia started to progress, you start to recognize those things less and less. And often she was upset and she was anxious, and she had a hard time with that whole transition. And so you'd see her in the hallway, and she'd recognize my father and she'd recognize me, and she would call out and we would go to her and talk to her, and kind of like, but what you said never really helped as much as you hoped that it would. But I do remember one very poignant story that happened during this time, actually, and it was during when COVID first happened, and the whole world was very dangerous situation, but particularly for elderly people in nursing homes. It was a very, very fraught and dangerous time. And one of the things that we had to do, just to kind of let you into some of the chaos of it, was anytime someone that tested positive, well, they would need to be quarantined. So we'd run like heck and get all the other residents out and move them over there. And then that person got. So then we had to, and it was just putting up walls, and you know what I'm talking about. It was just beyond. So one day, we were there well into the night doing all this kind of stuff, and I saw Grandma at the end of the hallway, and she had to be moved to a quarantine room because she had COVID. And she was upset anyways, just as a general matter about a lot of things. And so I saw her at the end of the hall, and I said, well, I just better see her before I was about to leave for the day. I just better, say goodnight to her. Hopefully she's okay. And so I was expecting a lot of, but I think when I went up to her to talk to her, she was in her wheelchair, and I think she saw that I was just wrung out. I was running on just fumes, and and she recognized that, and she patted me on the arm like this, and she said, she didn't say anything, but I think she was communicating in a very warm way. It's going to be okay. I see that things are crazy for you, and that you're doing a very challenging thing, and just that was it got me through the rest of COVID. It fueled, that one thing that she did got me through the next 2 years, because I just took so much inspiration and gratitude for that. And in that moment, I recognized my grandma from when we used to go to Columbus and be with the cousins, and I recognized that person. And she came out then, and her kindness and her, even in the kind of the depths of the dementia, she kind of shined through there in a really trying time. And it was just really touching for me. And I was really able that I got to be with her and care for her and see her every day. And the staff absolutely loved her. And she was a tough, some of the staff said, she's a tough old bird. And she was. And, but we have our morning meetings where you'd say, oh, Mr. This, Mr. That, and Grandma has a this. She was Grandma to everybody. So, it was a really good environment for her. She was very well loved, very cared for. And just, as a grandmother, she was just incredibly warm, and I'm just going to miss her, and that warmth and that caring and that kindness. and all those warm feelings that I had from my childhood. I'm going to miss those very, very much.